goes down a bit. I'm Carol. I'm the current landlady of the Angel Ale House. I've lived in Atherstone since 2001. A bit of a story how I got here. I'm obviously a Geordie. I've not lived here all my life, and very proud Geordie wearing my black and white top. Basically how I arrived here was from house signs on the A5. I followed them into Atherstone because myself and my partner at the time were looking to move down here. He had a potential job in Coventry or Birmingham, so every weekend was spent down here looking for somewhere to live. And we eventually drove up the A5 and just followed the house signs off the A5 and ended up buying a house in Atherstone. So a bit quirky. Didn't think I was going to stay in Atherstone because I moved on the 15th of December 2001, and on New Year's Eve that same year we were burgled. And they took everything basically, and I thought, what kind of a place is this? And then I remembered how I loved this town from the first moment I set eyes on it. As I say, we drove up the A5, up Witherley Road, and we came into town. And it was a Saturday and it was bustling. It was a really lovely day, and was parked up, we walked around, I seen the beautiful market square, and I just thought, I love it here, I really do. So burglary aside, you know, I decided to stay. I did think it was a bit strange when we were doing our garden and I kept finding kitten heels in the garden. I found about 30 kitten heels. And finally, I had my hair done at Anthony's at the Works, and he asked me where I lived. So I told him, and he said, oh, that's the old shoe factory. I thought, well, thank God for that. I thought somebody had a shoe fetish. So weekend after weekend, I was digging up heels. So, as I say, I've been in the town for a long time. The very first encounter of the ball game as well, I drove through the town that morning and there was boards up everywhere. And I phoned my partner, I said, where the hell have you brought me to live? There must have been a riot in the town last night. All the windows are boarded up. And he said, that would be the ball game, Carol. And, well, what's that? So after the burglary and after thinking there'd been a riot in the town, I kind of wasn't too sure whether I was going to stay or not. So then time went on. 2004, I became the landlady of the Market Tavern, only for 6 months, because I was actually still working full time, and I've never been so tired in all my life. Working full time and running a pub full time, it took some doing, it really, really did. But I loved it, I absolutely loved the Market Tavern. It was the first pub I ever went to in the town, and it's still got a very soft spot in my heart. So we only ran it for 6 months, and after 6 months I gave it up and I just continued with my full-time job. How I started at the Angel was I was a regular at the Dolphin, and when the Dolphin shut down there was no more real ale in the town really. It was a desert for real ale. So I did hear talks at work about people being made redundant, and I was made redundant, but I'd already set up in place to take the Angel on. So we took the Angel on after I believe Snowy had it, and we've been there for 10 years this September. So it was 2014, September 2014 when we first started. And I love the Angel now. I wasn't quite too sure at the beginning of taking the Angel on because it was one pub I'd never stepped foot in. It was a bit of a no-go area really in the town. But it's a beautiful little pub, it really is. It's very nice. So that's how I ended up in the Angel. Prior to that, I've lived in America, in New Jersey for 4 years, and I've lived in Chicago for a year. I lived in Luton for 7 years, so I have been a little bit of a gypsy. Atherstone is the place where I've settled now, and as I say, I've lived here since 2001. During my time of having the pub, I've obviously joined lots of committees. Lots and lots. At one time I was actually on 7 committees all at once, and I'd done nothing but go to meetings and actually did really love it, but the business was suffering just a little bit. So I decided to start bit by bit, start knocking the committees on the head. I was with Atherstone Partnership from the inception in 2016 and just resigned last year. And I've been on the Dickens committee for the past, I don't even remember how long, 6 or 7 years. And the reason why I got involved with Dickens was because the last committee were going to resign, and I got a telephone call to say Dickens is going to fold if you don't come and help us. So it wasn't something I particularly wanted to do, but like I say, 6 or 7 years later, I'm still doing it. And every year I say, right, that's it, I'm not doing another Dickens because it is incredibly hard work. I don't think people really understand that that one-day event takes months of preparation, and even 2 weeks later we're still putting things away from Dickens. It is very, very hard work. As I say, every year I say I'm not doing this again, and every year I forget and carry on and start doing it again. I am a town councillor for the Conservatives for Atherstone South. So aside from Newcastle, I left Newcastle when I was 22, so I've almost lived in Atherstone. Well, I've lived in Atherstone longer than I lived in Newcastle. I've made some great friends here. I absolutely love this town. I always have. From the first moment I set eyes on it, I absolutely love this town. And I like doing things for the town. I like putting events on, and I just like seeing people happy. That's the main thing that gives me a bit of a kick. We do operate the Charity Beer Festival every year. I still have to pick the date for this year. I am thinking about August the 1st because that is International Beer Day. So, you know, we'll wait and see on that one. I have to wait and see if the Market Square is actually free for that date. So I've been doing that for probably about 5 years or so. We have raised a lot of money for different charitable organisations over the years. From Rough Luck Rescue, I give money to the Heritage Centre, St Mary's Church, First Responders. So we do raise quite a bit of money and help out local charities as much as possible. And that is one event I really enjoy doing. So keep your eye open for that date for the Charity Beer Festival. Hopefully the weather will stay good. Lots of plans coming up for, we need to raise money for Dickens. So watch out for events coming up to help support the Dickens event. It's a much loved event in this town, so we do need to keep that going as much as possible, and we can only do that from raising money for it. I always have loved this town, and I've made a lot of good friends, and the best thing about Atherstone is the people. I love the people in this town. We all gel together, we all come together as a community when anything is needed, and we all stand shoulder to shoulder by each other. So that's why I love Atherstone.